Bacon's Rebellion was the first major uprising in American colonial history. Poor farmers, indentured servants, and frontier settlers rose up against the colonial elite. During mid-1600s, Virginia's economy thrived, with tobacco farming its backbone. However, the colony was divided by wealth and opportunity. Governor William Berkeley, who led the colonial government, favored the interests of the wealthy plantation elite, who controlled large plantation relying on labor force of indentured servants and growing number of enslaved Africans. After their work service ended, many poor farmers, indentured servants, and freedmen moved inland from Tidewater region to Piedmont, often clashing with Native Americans facing threats and attacks. With constant conflicts, they demanded military protection, but Governor Berkeley refused, as he wanted to maintain profitable trade relations with the Native American tribes. Instead, imposed heavy taxes and maintained strict control over land distributions, which favored the rich. In 1674, Nathaniel Bacon arrived in Virginia from England seeking land, wealth, and opportunities. Coming from a wealthy and well-connected family, he gained access to the Virginia Elite Society, led by Berkeley. However, Bacon did not like Berkeley's corrupt government and injustice to frontier settlers. So, he organized a militia of frontier settlers and launched unauthorized attacks on Native American tribes in summer 1676. This got him support from poor farmers and the settlers and became the leader of Bacon's rebellion. In turn, Governor Berkeley marked him as a rebel and ordered his arrest, after which, in September 1676, Bacon and his rebels marched in Jamestown and burned the colonial capital to the ground. Berkeley fled, and Bacon took control of the colony, issuing reforms to reduce corruption and expand land access for common settlers. However, weeks later, October 26, 1676, Bacon died of dysentery. Without his leadership, the rebellion collapsed. By January 1677, Berkeley had returned to Jamestown and re-established authority with the help on English troops. He executed 23 of Bacon followers as a warning for future rebels. In fear, Virginia's leaders relied more on enslaved Africans, which prevented poor whites and blacks from uniting. And new laws made slavery permanent and took away rights from Africans, which marked the start of permanent slavery and racial divisions. Bacon's rebellion illustrates how, in the early colonial period, governments often favored elites while ignoring ordinary settlers, leading to uprisings. This pattern of resentment against distant or corrupt authority foreshadows the American Revolution, which similarly grew from colonists' frustrations with unresponsive leadership. At the same time, colonies relied heavily on indentured servants and enslaved Africans, who were treated differently and developed distinct social and cultural roles. The rebellion highlighted these class and racial divisions, showing how the colonial system deliberately separated people to maintain elite control.